WBUR podcast, Boston.
This is Up Next. I'm Tiziana Deering. Key Democrats want Graham Platner out of the race for U.S. Senate in Maine. As you've been hearing this morning, leaders including Charlie Dingman, the Maine party chief, are calling on Platner to drop out after sexual assault allegations became public yesterday. If the pressure campaign works, Platner would have to withdraw by next Monday in order for the party to run a different candidate against Republican Senator Susan Collins. Joining us now, Boston Globe political reporter James Pindell. James, good morning.
Good morning.
So Platner says he denies the allegations, but he's also clearly taking stock. Does it appear he has any base of support remaining to move forward?
Literally, there's, from Washington to Maine, all throughout, there is not a single person defending Graham Platner at this moment. And look, the path forward for him to win against Susan Collins requires a perfect campaign, and but two things in particular. The polling was extremely clear that he needed to make sure Democrats were on board with him. There was about 12 to 15% of Democrats who had some questions, and he had to bring them home. And it was possible, but not now. And it's certainly not now when Chuck Schumer says he will not spend a dime on this race as long as Graham Platner is the nominee. There's no way forward here for him, and I think he gets it.
So who could the party in Maine look to replace Platner? Because my understanding is they have to turn this whole thing around. If it's not Platner, they have to turn this whole thing around by the 13th.
Correct. Let's talk about the brief logistics here. For him to be replaced, he has to drop out by Monday at 5 o'clock. And then if that happens, Democrats have 2 weeks to figure out who they're going to pick. People are saying it's all up in the air on how the process will work, even though it's kind of not, because it's the same process they use to replace legislative candidates, and that happens almost every single cycle. To get to your question, who he could be replaced with, well, Democrats have a pretty big bench. Let's get one thing out of the way. One person who ran for Senate last year and suspended her campaign is the current governor, two-term governor, Janet Mills, who got creamed by Graham Platner and had to drop out basically.
Back in April.
She is not on the table here. She has not said that she even wants it, and no Democrats are really even talking seriously about it. They didn't see that she really wanted it or was a strong candidate. So that really leaves us with the crop of candidates who ran for governor, which is a lot of people who ran for governor, who lost, who did not become the nominee. And a lot of people on that list think that there's a coalescing around a guy named Troy Jackson. He's the former state Senate president. He campaigned tirelessly with Graham Platner when they were both running ahead of that primary. He shares the same sort of progressive values. If he were to be the nominee, Bernie would endorse him the next day, and then he would be having all that energy from the base, but none of the baggage from the specific to Graham Platner. But there are other names involved. Another person who ran for governor last time, Rev Shaw, he was the former head of the Maine Public Health Department during COVID. He was a strong candidate for governor himself. Shenna Bellows, the Secretary of State, also another person who ran for governor but lost, as well as floating other names like Susan Rice, who has a history in Maine. But this is not a time, I don't think, for people from away, as they say in Maine, to jump into this race.
So in Susan Collins's camp, how are they looking at this moment in Maine?
With mixed thoughts. I mean, certainly on one level, they're like Democrats in disarray, but they would like their chances against Graham Platner because the race was not about Susan Collins and her record. It was not about Donald Trump. It was about Graham Platner, and she would take those odds. If we insert a generic Democrat, it's possible the race does become about her and Trump, and that's not good for her.
James Pindell of the Boston Globe will continue to watch this unfolding story today. Thanks so much.
Thank you.